Ethiopian rebels claim they are closing in on the country's capital, Addis Ababa. But tens of thousands of Ethiopians say they are ready to push back. This rally took place in support of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's military campaign against the rebels from the Tigray region. Abiy dismissed claims of territorial gains by the Tigray People's Liberation Front, known as the TPLF, yet declared a nationwide state of emergency and ordered the capital to strengthen its defences. The TPLF brokered an alliance with 8 other groups in Washington. Most of the groups are not well known, making it unclear whether the alliance will strengthen their position. Diplomatic efforts intensified to try to end the country's year-old conflict.
We do believe, as you've heard from the AU Special Envoy, that there is a window, a small opening to work with the Special Envoy to further these efforts, these collective efforts, to peacefully resolve the conflict in Ethiopia.
The United Nations said that Ethiopia detained 72 aid drivers in the capital of Afar province, on the only functional road leading into famine-threatened Tigray. The news came a day after the UN reported the arrest of 22 of its employees in Addis. In this convoy lie the coffins of dozens of victims killed by a fuel tanker explosion in Freetown on November 5th. Most of the victims were street vendors and motorcyclists. They were caught in the blaze while trying to get fuel. A mass burial was held in the outskirts of Sierra Leone's capital on the first of 3 days of national mourning declared by the president.
Within Niger, one for make the bereaved family, the one that we lost people them directly, may they know say this is not a loss for Salone, not just a loss for them.
The blast killed at least 131 people and injured more than 60. Sierra Leone, one of the poorest countries in the world, made an appeal for blood donations and bandages, painkillers and infusion fluids for the injured. An entire commune is mourning in western Niger. 69 residents of Banibangou were killed on November 2nd by suspected jihadists. The residents were members of a local anti-jihadist defence force called the Vigilance Committee. They had decided to launch an offensive against armed men who regularly attack villages and steal cattle in the region. But the assailants saw them coming and opened fire.
The bandits terrorize us too much. We don't know why. Why is there still no peace in Banibangou? We are really trying to understand. We are killed again and again, we are robbed, we are tortured, and we don't know for what reasons.
5 days after the attack, the Nigerian president visited the site. He asked the people of Banibangou district to count on the army for security.
I understand that you are not satisfied with our performance. I understand it. If you think that you can defend yourselves, that is legitimate. But the state has to defend you, and you have to rely on the state.
Niger is facing jihadist insurgencies on its tri-border zone with Mali, Burkina Faso and Nigeria. Massacres carried out by Al-Qaeda and the so-called Islamic State have killed hundreds of civilians since the beginning of the year. Tears, laughter and pride in Benin as the country welcomed back nearly 30 royal Abomey treasures. Hundreds of Beninese from all over the country massed along a road to watch them arrive. A ceremony was held at the presidential palace 5 years after the president requested France return the looted artifacts.
I had little confidence that this claim would ever succeed, even less so in my lifetime.
Talon travelled to Paris a day earlier, where French President Emmanuel Macron officially signed over the 26 artifacts to Benin. In Benin, they will be exhibited at several sites, and eventually they will be moved to a museum in Abomey. The return of the artifacts comes as calls mount in Africa for Western countries to hand back colonial spoils.
A military escort is essential to move around in the town of Mutwanga in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Rebels from the Allied Democratic Forces have killed almost 1,000 people here in the last year. The Virunga National Park is more famous for its gorillas, but despite the lack of infrastructure, an unlikely business has sprouted here where the Rwenzori Mountains guard the border with Uganda, a chocolate factory.
The big challenge, first of all, was learning the trade, what chocolate is, how to make chocolate, and then getting good at it.
Virunga Origins Chocolates processes cocoa from local producers to prevent smuggling across the border. It tries to show a different life is possible, away from conflict. In less than a year, more than 200 civilians have been killed within a 20-kilometre radius of the factory. Many farmers have abandoned their fields.
Thieves come after the farmers and the farmers are stressed. There are also our soldiers who guard us. As soon as the farmers leave the field, there are soldiers who steal the produce and resell it.
Soldiers arrived in May after President Felix Tshisekedi decreed a state of emergency to try and stop the violence. But the killings continue in remote rural zones.
We deploy small units everywhere to protect people in their fields. It makes our job too hard. It's people who are not in the big settlements. They have left the big settlements and are now getting going in their fields. And when they cross paths with the enemy has no choice but to kill them.
The Virunga Park's hydroelectric plant in the Rwenzori foothills started operations in 2013. It provides power to Mutwanga, and there's hope it will attract more business.
Since electricity has come to Mutwanga, people know that their palm oil is processed into soap. This is already something important. With the chocolate factory, people can see the cocoa transformed into chocolate. Other factories are also being set up, so it boosts the region's economy.
The chocolate factory has 10 full-time employees, including 4 widows of park rangers. The factory is expanding to meet international demand. It will then put out 10 times more chocolate.